Switzerland with Andy, founder of Orage, and Florian Terex, one of our consultants, engineers, been working with us for a very long time. And we came together to have this mini roundtable conversation because we have some updates, some exciting news, some interesting developments, and some emergency strategizing that needed to take place. So Andy, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what's happened during the time of coronavirus and how we've managed things as a company.
In contrast to many other companies, we did not go into short labor or anything like this. We actually hired 2 more engineers, and we ramped up engineering and really doing new product work and improve stuff which we can do. So we were constantly actually working, and I think we also saw from you running the marketing that people engaged a lot with what we do. People ordered tourbillons during that lockdown, also other products, and this is a good sign because I think people are still interested in watches, and it's a good hobby when you sit at home. You can watch all these things. So now we are getting out of that lockdown period, and we start to talk to the rest of the watch industry, namely suppliers, and this gets us some surprises.
Yeah. So what happened? I was in Austria, so I wasn't able to be a part of everything. Was here.
It's the first time since 3 months.
Yeah, the first time since 3 months that we were able to get together and actually see what's happening. So we had some interesting announcements come up in the last 10 days or so. Correct?
We had some calls with. Florian was originally the CEO of the partner company Le Jour Perret, where we did that tourbillon project together. Yeah. He left the company 8 months ago.
8 months ago, yeah.
Roughly. And we worked before the lockdown, finishing all the samples. People know all the story behind that. And then there was more or less 2-3 months, not very much happening in the whole supplier industry. And we waited, and when they were coming back to work, we arranged calls and said, so how is it going? So how do we now go into production? What is the next steps? And we figured out that even more people have changed. Management has changed specifically. And with this management change, we entered into one Skype call where we had the feeling that there's a little bit of a different culture right now. And basically saying that because we used the time during lockdown also to test things and figure out some improvements which we suggest to do on the product itself, and trying to prepare for manufacturing in order to be able to deliver the product in our planned time frame. And then we found out that they probably see that different now. And this was not very, to be honest, it was a little bit disappointing. Yeah, it felt like, I want to be very honest, it felt like a new management and a company trying to screw us.
Yeah.
And you can't really work together when in such a supplier brand relationship, you cannot really work together in a non-friendly way, because this will at the end of the day this will cause trouble for our clients, for our consumers who invest into us, who invest money into the product. And when we do not have 100% control of what's going on, then it doesn't feel good.
Florian, you were working with us on the team and further developing this at the beginning of the year. And together with our team, we found some things that we wanted to fix, that we wanted to rectify and make better in the movement. Can you explain some of those things that you found?
I know the team from Orage from a long time, and I know where they want to go, what they want to have for a product. And it's not always the same. When you want to use a tourbillon, normally you have a high-end watches, very high-end, so you buy the watch and you put that in your safe and don't touch the watch. But nowadays, a lot of customers are more coming and buying such tourbillon movement for people who are really wearing the watches. So the tourbillon must be more reliable as in the past. So we developed this tourbillon in La Jour Perret was developed some years ago. So I knew that if they come for this tourbillon, we need to improve some points. And it was also good for La Jouperet because we need to be always better, and improve our product. So it was a win-win situation. That was my point of view when I was there, and we started to work in this project. So nowadays it's a new CEO with a new management. A lot of the top management change. So that's also a new way of doing things and doing business. And okay, they have the right to do that. But it was very surprising how they explain us. It's not possible to change. It's not possible to improve the product, and but they don't want to work.
Not a
in this
collaborative.
direction.
It ended up in a non-collaborative
Started out as a
situation.
collaborative situation with
I mean, it's
yourself,
friends, you know.
and then it turned into a non-collaborative.
Yeah.
I mean, we came to you when you started to take the role of the CEO, and we knew that there's a lot of work to do for you, and there's need to be business going, and that's why we actually did that product, because there's expertise, and we have clients who want to have that, and we would like to do that, and so it was a good thing. It was a very collaborative thing, and a trustful thing, and and somehow in the past week it changed into something very different, into a culture which I, as a founder of the company and someone who is talking to, and you talking to our clients who invested into our product, cannot really share. And I also cannot recommend ourselves and anybody to continue like that. Also not for La Jouperet. I mean, you cannot work together when the culture is all of a sudden so different. We were a little bit surprised and also shocked that a company tried to put pressure on us because they knew we have clients, they knew we have customers, we have orders, people have paid money, and trying to use that situation in order, I had the feeling, to get some kind of advantage out of that. This was my honest feeling. And then we were sitting together, all of us, Jonas, all the engineers, Tzu, our president, and together with you, because we anyhow work on K2 movement development, and K1 you always were involved in the past many years, and said, okay, we need to make sure that we are on the safe side with that project, and this can only mean that we need to control 100% what's going on in that movement. And that's what we decided. We decided to actually do it by ourselves now.
This is something that started at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
Florian, as far as jumping into developing a completely new tourbillon movement, what are you relying on coming into this? It's pretty audacious to try to do something in the timeline that we're talking about.
Yeah, the timeline is very short, so we need to expand a bit the delivery schedule, because it's too short. 6 months, it's not possible. We needed to have already the construction finished now to be able to deliver in 6 months the watch. But what is a tourbillon? It's not a lot of components if you put away the tourbillon cage. So you have a stem mechanism, you have some wheels for the hands mechanism, and you have the gear train wheels with the mainspring. So that's the most easiest part of a movement to develop. And even more when you have already some components that you know that are good in function, reliability, like we have with the K1 already. We will take, for example, the stem mechanism from the K1. So we do not start from zero. We start with some components that are working very well. Also for the hands mechanism, we also take some wheels from the K1. So there is nothing new there. After that, you have the gear train and the mainspring. So what is tricky is the dimension of the mainspring. So there you need to have, to have some calculation sheet tables, and with that you can develop something as good as possible for the first time. But it has nothing to do with the reliability of the product. It's more on the power reserve or some amplitudes. If you are too high with amplitude or too low with amplitude, so you can get this kind of problem. That's all. And you have some wheels, and that's all. And where is the problem now is this turbulent cage. But okay, it's a lot of components in a small volume, so we need to be careful. But even there, we have the K1 escapement. We have silicon escapement, which dramatically improved the efficiency. We have the oscillator of the K1, so we are not starting from null,
from zero.
It's a green field.
It's a lot of components and especially a lot of tolerances and know-how we can predict very well. We can predict very well what happens. And honestly speaking, it's a little bit like rewind to the original time. Why not doing it based on our own stuff? But since we were knowing each other so well, there was this trustful relationship between the companies, and then why do we have to do that all by ourselves? Now we have to do it by ourselves. Okay, I think, in first view, probably it sounds a little bit strange, but I think we should not risk into entering into a difficult cooperation which we cannot control. And in a product like this, we need to control the things. And the good thing, personally, I think, is that the people who are involved and who bought the product, they will get much more information now about what is going on. We will keep all the people really in the loop of what we are doing. We know our suppliers. We have full visibility on the making of that product. So I think it will be a much more exciting period.
I agree. For me, it was the last few months were very much. We had people reaching out to us. What's the next Toubion update or whatever else? It's like
nobody's working.
I can't drive anywhere. I can't go anywhere, so I can't go to that production facility and see anything. And because nobody can go anywhere. And now we are doing this in our own headquarters, and we're able to control all the processes, and we're able to then communicate everything that's coming along in much more detail. And everybody knows this as being very transparent. Very transparent conversation here today. And in saying that, Florian, what do you expect more from this movement that you're developing with the team compared to what we have here on the table?
So the advantage we have now is that we have this prototyping. We have fixed some problems, and we know that we need to improve the construction. So we are a step further in a better product, more reliable product with the components we have. And I think that also we will be better with the time setting system. We will be better with the stem mechanism, and we also will be much better with the power reserve, because we are working with the new silicon escapement with a really big improvement in this efficiency. So we also have free hands to adapt the mainspring and also the mainspring barrel. So we will also improve. We are targeting to get 100 hours power reserve.
So about a 4-day power reserve.
About a 4 day, a bit less than 4 days.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So bad.
So perhaps we are facing some trouble or you are facing some trouble when you heard that we are starting from zero, but at the end of the day you will get something better than you
originally
yeah.
and we have placed orders for cases and for all the other parts which are not part of the movement already. So the stuff is in production, which means we cannot we will not walk away from the aesthetical part of things. It will have exactly that look and feel what people ordered, it will have technical improvements and changes,
Yes.
I would say. But
Yeah.
form factor, look, feel, style, color,
Exactly the same.
exactly the same, and also the same finishes on the wheels. And so we go with that. And therefore, I'm very confident that with so many engineering experience in our team at work and with known supplier infrastructure, we will be able to pull that off. Yeah, we need to ask for forgiving that we might need a little bit longer, but we will keep everybody in the loop and people can follow. And perhaps it's much more exciting of a journey rather than just getting a watch when it's finished and we didn't know how it came together.
Yeah.
Because this would have been another problem. I would have seen that we probably would not have been able to report more out of the process of manufacturing, which all of us are interested in.
Yeah.
And when you don't have a very good relationship with the supplier, you will not be able to walk in there.
No, I don't think so.
So, and that's why people buy that stuff from us. They buy it because they want to be part of that process of creation.
And this further solidifies our positioning as an independent watchmaker. You really are not independent when you're reliant.
Cold
on
water,
another.
you know.
And we've really learned that lesson. I mean, for sure, we need to have suppliers that provide components and everything else, but taking that entire movement production in your hands is a massive step. And for the future, it means that there'll be much more exciting projects that can come of this.
Yeah, we are in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think this is something which, in this case, I mean, we really saw when you were CEO at the company, like we can really talk to each other. We get to know the people. We know the facility actually, and then if this is shut off and not accessible for us anymore, then there is no means to work together anyhow. And since we always in K1 also ordered all the components and managed all the processes in between, it's not a black box kind of project for us. And everybody's excited, I think. I mean, at the beginning, it's like, that's a tough thing. But after 2-3 days and looking into the components we have available and our know-how, then I said, yeah, of course we can do that.
Yeah. Well,
And let's thank you that you are around, you know.
at the beginning, it was very, very special. We put everything on the table, what we can get from the K1, if it's too risky or not, what kind of direction we need to take for all these sub-functions. And it was very, very exciting days because we were, it's very exciting because we work as a team. Everybody can explain his fear, his competencies, what he think about every possibilities, blah, 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 blah. So I was not agreeing to all the things we decided to do at the end of the day, but because everybody explained his position, make some argumentation, we make a lot of calculation, simulation, gear train, shapes, ANSYS simulations, strains, constraints, stress simulation, all this stuff we have done that. It was some very exciting days. And at the end of these days, we choose which components, how we want to build this movement. And I'm sure we've taken, because we are so working close all together with the ideas and brains of everybody, we can get a very, very good product for that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah.
So I think the currently we have done all the layouting, which is the layout of the technical things, which is the most difficult because that's the place where you argue. Are you sure about that shape? Or so this is where there's heavy arguing going on. And then we selected all these core components, and now we are in the process of modeling. So 3D modeling, we are using Onshape. By the way, thanks to Onshape. A little bit of advertising for the most advanced cut tool, And this also drives a lot of speed. You know, I mean, being able to use technology like this drives really the engineering speed. And I would say during next 4 weeks we should be able to have a finished, correct, layouted 3D model from where we then extract all the production drawings.
Yeah.
And then we actually go to the existing suppliers, which we know. And
Also there we can perhaps also work with our suppliers without any complete finished drawings.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of time to put all the details you need to put on the drawings that all the suppliers can take and produce the same pieces. But when you have good contacts with your suppliers, you can just give some step file that is a 3D shapes, and on piece of paper you said, okay, that's pins with plus minus 2 micrometers tolerances. There, that's so much. Tack. The rest you do as usual. You work in the. We work together for a long time. We know each other, what we need, and that's all. It's going much more faster like that.
Yeah, and so as we're moving forward with this project, Andy and myself, we're going to be reaching out to everybody by phone, email.
Yeah.
You can reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever we have, all the technologies. We're going to be there for you to answer any questions that you have. It's an extremely exciting time. We never thought this would ever happen, that we would make Tourbillon in-house. And it was always a request from the beginning for our fans. And we are able to now, from crisis comes a lot of positive things.
Never let a crisis go to waste. Winston Churchill. Okay, it was a war. But I think it's, crisis. I hope that the people who invested in us and who trust in us continue to trust in us. And of course, I apologize for that little hiccup we have here. It's a little hiccup. But I think since we always communicated open, everybody can understand that. It's nothing which is not understandable. If cultures don't match anymore, better don't work together and find other ways of solution. And our solution is do what we are best at, develop, design, produce and manufacture the products by ourselves. That's what we are best at, because then we can control the stuff. And everybody is welcome to visit us at any time in our facility and get a first-hand view on how we do things. So nothing to hide here.
Yeah, and if anybody is in the Swiss area in August and you're able to travel, we'll be having an open house, which we'll announce later on social media and on our forum. So definitely do try to come out and see that. You'll be able to see the current products in hand. But you'll also be able to meet with Florian and with Andy and other members of the engineering team. So that's all for now. Thank you for tuning in, and we're looking forward to answering everybody's questions and moving forward in this next exciting chapter of
the Tourbillon.
Tourbillon.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.